Cllr Stephen Cowan from Hammersmith Council.
Well, do you know what? I'm absolutely delighted to be here in Ealing Town Hall. I think when people begin to tell the story of where the fight back took place and where those battles and arguments were made, I think Ealing will be right at the centre of it. And that, my friends, is a tribute to all of you in this room. It's a tribute to the amazing SaHF, who is, I just wish, I know he said he made a slip of the tongue and said he represented Hammersmith. He doesn't. I so wish he did. We would love to have someone of his leadership in Hammersmith. Julian Bell has been a stalwart throughout this fight. He was leading the fight from the beginning. He called it first that the NHS was under threat, and he's still calling it now. And that's one of the reasons why the NHS has a glimmer of hope about its future. So I'm very grateful to thank Cllr and Julian. Thank you. And it's not just Cllr and Julian. I can see Aisha taking photographs, who is on the picket line outside Charing Cross on Saturday, as I've seen her so many times before. It's Hitesh Taylor, your excellent cabinet member. It's everyone we've got on this panel, and it's everyone we've got on this room. And the reason we've come out on this cold night, the reason is very simple. Who of us in this room believed that at any point in the last 20 years we might see newspaper headlines, not just in the Guardian and the Mirror, but in the Daily Mail and the Times, in fact all our national media, united on one issue? Our NHS is in crisis. Now what has happened to our country to do that? Back in 2012, I sat with my chest bursting with pride and a lump in my throat watching the Olympic opening ceremony. The central feature of it being our offer of universal healthcare. No matter what your ability to pay or where you are, you've got healthcare, and you've had it since 1948. Now I know, because I've travelled the world a lot, as I'm sure many of you have, this is the jewel in our crown. In fact, I was lucky enough to go to the Harvard School of Medicine in November 2015, for a bit in the United States, and there was a lecture given by a gentleman who'd been crucial to implementing Obamacare. And there were people from across Britain ready to hear his wise words of why Obamacare was excellent, what he'd done, and the battles he fought. And he started off with this very simple message. I realise, he said, I am talking to a British audience. So let me say one very clear thing at the outset. I have nothing to teach you about universal healthcare. The NHS is a shining light to the world. So we're here, and I believe that passionately. So we are here tonight because I don't think there's anyone in this room who doesn't believe that to be true. But what we have is an NHS under attack. In northwest London, 18 months ago, the newspapers were full of stories of ambulances queuing outside Northwick Park for an hour to get in. An hour. You had A&E figures and targets missed. You had bed blocking. Any others, anecdotally, who know anybody who's been to hospital recently, will tell you two stories. One, it was amazing care. Two, they moved you from bed to bed sometimes, and that everyone working there is stretched. Now this is done on purpose. This is absolutely purposeful. And in northwest London, where we have the Mansfield report and the latest health report, we're taking those arguments apart. Now I believe to beat their enemies, you have to understand their arguments. Their argument is we can treat more people in the community. Okay? Well, I think everyone agrees with that. We should absolutely join up adult social care and hospital acute care, so that people are seamlessly treated as they leave hospital in the community, and that it can be done more efficiently. Why wouldn't we want to do it? The second point of the argument is because we treat people in the community, then we will need less hospitals and less hospital beds. No, I don't believe that, and the figures don't stack that up. The third point of the argument is that less hospitals will allow for greater numbers of specialists in those hospitals, but you'll get better care. And I don't believe that either, because if that were true, why would you move the stroke unit from Charing Cross Hospital to St Mary's and put it within half a mile on another stroke unit at UCL? This is not about a clinical assessment of what's needed. This is about the slow undoing of our National Health Service. And that's what we all know in this room. And I've learnt ever since I was young that when people are doing something they don't want you to know about, they become very coy. So let's just look at some of the information. We were promised a business plan in 2012, and we still don't have one now. We were promised evidential information in 2013, 14, and 15, and 16, and we still do not have the evidence presented. So what is going on at every single point is they're trying to do this out of the public gaze, and we're not going to let them.
No.
Okay? It starts here, the fight back. It starts in Hammersmith, the fight back, and what happens with fight backs is they turn into fights, and we're going to win this fight. Thank you very much.